Hey, what's up everyone? James from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining me. And as you can tell, today's going to be straying a little bit from the usual Junkyard Fox formula and setup. Now, I am filming solo, so it's just me and the tripod today. And I'm just enjoying this beautiful summer evening, having myself a cold one. And I wanted to talk about multi-tools. I've been wanting to make this video for some time. So, in my opinion, and once again, this is just my opinion, I do find the multi-tool to be the most important item to carry in your everyday carry setup. You know what I mean, the gadget part of everyday carry, not, your keys, not including your keys or your phone or your wallet, but the gadget side of things. I mean, it's in the name, multi-tool. It's just going to be the most versatile in all manner of situations. Sometimes we forget that the preparedness side of things isn't always some kind of life or death situation. It could be something as relaxing as a social function, or a backyard barbecue or something, and somebody's looking, somebody needs a corkscrew or a bottle opener. Boom, that can help right there. Or God forbid, it is something a little bit more severe, some kind of emergency, a tornado happened, a hurricane happened, and now you need the can opener to open a provision, something like that. Now, the type of multi-tool that you're going to be using is really honestly going to change. There's so many variables. So today I do have a small collection here of some of my personal multi-tools, as well as a couple of them that I borrowed from friends as well. And I just want to show what options are out there available that are great. For example, some lightweight options, maybe for some, for the ladies or somebody new to the everyday carry setup lifestyle. Or maybe something that's a little bit more geared towards camping and backpacking, bushcraft, or, maybe you want something a little bit more tactical. So let's go ahead and get to it. So thank you for joining me. Get yourself a cold one. Let's get started. I just want to talk about, right now the lightweight options to introduce someone for beginners. If you're a beginner to the whole everyday carry preparedness lifestyle, I think these two right here are going to be great. They're very easy to get, they're very easy to come by, they're not very large, and they're budget friendly as well. So the first one is the Leatherman Squirt PS4, and this one is the Victorinox Cadet Alox. So let's talk about this one. It's funny because you don't see this blade on the Junkyard Fox channel a lot, but I seriously stand behind this one. I think this is an amazing little tool. In fact, I have bought this for about, I want to say about 8 people at this point, because they run you about $34, maybe $40 with shipping, and I think they make great gifts, once again, to introduce someone to that lifestyle. So let's face it, majority of people out there, they don't carry something like a pocket knife. So us that are into this whole preparedness thing, we kind of want to get them into it, especially the ladies. Now, a lady, a girl, not everybody, not every lady, but majority of them are not going to want to be rocking something like this, something much thicker, bulkier. I mean, compare the difference. They're not going to be walking around with something like this in the pocket of their jeans, for example. Women's clothing, of course, tends to be much more tighter, much more form-fitting, so they're not going to want something super obtrusive or heavy or just weird looking. So this works great. It can go, in the pocket of her jeans, in her purse, or even on her keys. You're out on a hike, something like that, just general preparedness. You got the basics, okay? So you got a cutting tool right here. It doesn't matter whether, you're slicing an apple during a hike, or you need to cut your way through a seat belt, in a car accident, which, people have done that, have needed to do before. But nice and simple, stainless steel, flat grind, bottle opener, flathead screwdriver, can opener, and a file. So when we're talking about multi-tools, this tends to be on the more simplistic side, much more lighter side, but once again, there's definitely an audience for that. There's definitely, people out there that are going to want this. And like I said, I've gotten this for about 8 people throughout the years. So many folks, so many of those people have, talk to me later on, like, they can't picture themselves leaving home without it. They just, once they use it, they love it, that kind of stuff. So I think this is really great. It's a shame we don't show it on the channel more. Who knows? I may, that's a little bit of a revelation. I may start bringing it with me. It runs you about $34 to $40, depending, shipping and all that. but really great. Very light, very simplistic, and once again, you got the basics. So really good stuff. Now, in case you wanted to have some pliers, now not everybody needs pliers for everyday carry. I really don't use pliers every single day, so for me, I tend to stick to something more Swiss Army knife style for my multi-tool. Not always, I'll talk about that later, but here is what rides on my haversack. So even though, you know, I don't really need pliers every day, I always do have them in my haversack. So this is the Leatherman Squirt PS4. I've had this for years, and very small. Once again, I mean, you close this up, this thing goes right away. You know, this can just hang. It's a little hefty, but it can hang around on your keys. Once again, I put it away in my haversack, so not too heavy. You got yourself some pliers here. Small cutting tool. I mean, this thing is probably an inch long, slightly over an inch long of cutting. I honestly never use this because I always have a belt knife or a boot knife, so it's extremely rare that I've used this at all, but it is there. You know, in case you need to, say, open a package, open your Mountain House meal, cut some cordage, something like that, this would be just fine for that kind of stuff. Obviously, you're not going to be really using this for something ridiculous, but, you know, a small little blade. And then this one has a small file and some really cool scissors. I really like the little scissors on here. And then bottle opener, flathead screwdriver, and just this slightly smaller flathead screwdriver. So another item that you don't see a lot of action shown on the channel, but I've had this thing for years, and it goes right in one of these little Pal's webbing kind of thing inside my haversack, and I just have it in there and then connect it to a carabiner so it doesn't slip through, and anytime I need it, I have it. So you know, I'm not always going to be using something like this. Some people, of course, you know, they'll carry their Leatherman their Leatherman of some kind every single day. I really don't need to. In my haversack, I always have this guy, and yeah, $40 for something like this works great. So these are great for, like, once again, the minimalist, someone new to the lifestyle, something like that. They don't want to spend a lot of money. You know, backpacking, hiking, that kind of stuff. Or they make great backup tools for your haversack or your backpack. Now, for what I do tend to carry personally, whenever I do have a larger multi-tool, and it's going to be something like this. Now, I do have a review on the classic Trekker, not the one-handed one, because it's basically the same thing except for the different blade. So this, as you can see, one-handed. So for a few years, I was a handyman. And so I used to, like, you know, climb ladders to change light bulbs in a restaurant and stuff. You know, and it was pretty high, a good 40 feet high up in the air. So when I'm, you know, climbing the ladders and I'm messing with light bulbs, this was really useful whenever I needed to cut through some zip ties or something like this. So that one-handed opening was great. Even the serrations. I know we're in the trend right now to, you know, scoff at serrations, but I mean, it really depends on your blade. You know, I keep my belt knife pristine and razor sharp in case, you know, camp prep, making dinner, gutting fish, that kind of stuff. But these serrations are going to be great for cutting through zip ties and cordage and packaging and cardboard and all that stuff. So this worked great. It has a chisel a chisel grind. So all you have to do is sharpen this side, and this side is flat. And this worked really great. This does have a locking mechanism. Okay, so this is a liner lock, in case that's a big issue with you when it comes to, like, safety. You don't want to risk something closing on you. This is going to work great. So that's something I forgot to mention about this one earlier, is it's non-locking. Now, keep in mind, as long as you know not to put pressure backwards where it can close, you're fine. But keep in mind, certain countries, for example, certain places, the laws don't allow you to have a locking blade. So this works for those people. But in case that's not an issue with you, this is going to be awesome. But yeah, liner locking blade, one-handed opening. Now this one suited my lifestyle more because I'm always outside, you know. So you got yourself a file here, woodworking, making notches for, you know, figure 4 deadfall traps, that kind of stuff, striking a ferro rod. Of course, you got the bottle opener for party time, flathead screwdriver, once again very useful when I was a handyman, can opener, and Phillips screwdriver on all. And of course, being a Swiss Army knife, a larger Swiss Army knife, you're going to have tweezers, which are great for, you know, where there's a lot of thorns and stickers, that kind of stuff. And then a toothpick, which is fine. I don't really use it too much, but it's come in handy here and there. And yeah, great. It's that perfect balance, in my opinion, between everyday carry in the city and it's still going to be useful while out on a hike or a camping trip, whatever the case may be. This is one of my oldest knives, going on about 9 years, and it's still going on strong. Honestly, I really love it. Really good blade, really great stuff. So recently I got into these Ruikes. Now Ruikes, this was a company that they sent this stuff to us, and they're something like a little bit of a competition with the Swiss Army knife style. So once again, if you're not needing pliers, these work great as well. Now these particular models that I have are non-locking. I know that's a deal breaker to some. There are some locking models. I do not have those, of course. Now this one is the L32-B. Same thing, very similar tools as this one. I don't believe they make this model anymore. At least it has not been available online for many months. So still has all that good stuff. If you can find yourself a good Ruike, they are pretty decent. They are made in China. Some folks are not going to like that. They run you about 35 bucks. I think they're pretty good. When it comes to the whole China thing, if it's a decent company, then I really don't mind. If it's a decent product, I don't mind. You know, they're not replacing my Swiss Army knives, but they're good to have at the very least as backup. So they do also offer something unique. They have these G10 scales, really cool. They always remind me like some kind of like a wafer cookie. You know, and they also come with a pocket clip. So that's really cool. And a really cool blade. This is called a seatbelt cutter. I generally tend to cut like cardboard with it, but I mean, it does make sense. In case you were trapped in a vehicle, this can help cut. Also, they also have a little glass breaker down here, which is really interesting. Really cool stuff. But yeah, very, very similar to the Trekker. Once again, don't know if they have this available anymore. I haven't seen it in forever. And this is the L31-B. This one's Cuervos. This is available online. Now, we do have a review on both of them. They were reviewed at the same time because they're nearly identical. So I'm going to have the review up here if you want to check that out. So once again, a large non-locking flat grind blade. But instead of a saw, the cool thing is that this one has some really sturdy scissors here. These are awesome. These are some really awesome scissors. And Cuervo, he chose this one because he uses, he does a lot of leather work, making hat bands and leather sheaths and stuff like that. So the large scissors, and it also comes with a awl. Let me see, where's the awl? I don't recall where. I know it's in here somewhere. Let me see. You got to pull this out over here. Now this is a really, really impressive awl. Got to be careful with it. Here, I'll just do it the easy way. Bam, there you go. And look at that. Really impressive. And yeah, so this is really great for him in terms because he likes to work with leather and you know, design stuff like that, customize stuff like that. So those hefty scissors and this all are great for him. But then of course he still has all the necessities that he needs, you know, on a hiking camping trip or something like that. Really cool, very similar Ruike. Now keep in mind, once again, there are some locking models, okay? But we do have a review on these two because they're very similar. Now, in case you're somebody who lives out in the boonies, you live in a cabin or something like that, you want something that's going to be the most outdoorsy, rustic type of multi-tool, you know, you spend the majority of your time out camping or something like that, then look no further than this one. I mean, this thing is just an absolute beauty. And that's kind of rare when you talk about multi-tools, because multi-tools tend to be the most plain Jane, ugly duckling type of tools. You know, they're the least elegant, at least compare them to, say, like custom knife blades and stuff like that. So this one is a Victorinox, so it's the same company as these guys, made in Switzerland, of course. And this one, of course, has walnut scales, and that's going to add a little bit of a premium to it, in my opinion, at least. I really like them. I think that's really pretty. And then, of course, it is larger, so it takes everything that this Trekker has, and, of course, the classic Trekker that's not a one-handed knife, and it just amplifies it. It's going to have a bigger blade, for example. That is a large flat grind blade right there. And the button, the little insignia, is the liner lock to close it. It's going to have a larger saw. Well, let's compare the saws here. I mean, this thing's just slightly more formidable. I mean, I've used both for years, and honestly, there's not much of a difference. But, I mean, this thing is just bigger, it's beefier. It just provides you a little bit more confidence, you know? But, yeah, it carries the majority of the tools that the other one does. Bottle opener, of course. Can opener, flathead screwdriver. The only thing is, of course, this one has the corkscrew. I'm not the biggest fan of corkscrews myself. That's something that these guys had too. I forgot to mention. You know, once again, your hobbies are going to come into play. Some people are going to enjoy drinking their wine when out camping. I'm not one of those people. I'm a beer guy, as you know, as much as I wish I could move past beer to be a little bit something more sophisticated. I live in the desert. It's hot. I like something cold. So wine really doesn't do it for me, but somebody does. Somebody is going to enjoy it when they're out camping or backpacking, whatever the case may be. So that's available. And then it also comes with an awl. They have their uses. Now, of course, because of the size and the walnut as opposed to plastic, as you can imagine, this thing is pricey. On a good day, you will find this for $90, but on average, this thing runs you about $135, I want to say, $140. So, I mean, it definitely is a beauty, but it's going to cost you. It's definitely going to cost you, so you pay for that little premium right there. And we do have a review on it. We have a full review on this if you want to check it out, so I'll place that up here. Okay, so I had to get some light in here because I am losing sunlight quickly. It's a very gloomy day. Kind of wants to rain, but it doesn't. And then I just keep getting a lot of interruptions from people walking by, so I have to stop filming. But anyway, so let's move on to pliers. I know to some people, pliers are a must-have. And I understand for certain trades, if you're a mechanic, for example, or you work in construction, plumbing, something like that, a plier is a must-have. So I don't have that, you know, that profession. I don't have, you know, that lifestyle. So personally, I may not need it other than something small like this. But a lot of times you're going to want pliers. So that's where Leatherman shines. I mean, there's other companies, but Leatherman is, let's face it, they're the king of it. Even though Swiss Army knives do have some really nice plier tools as well. So this is the Leatherman Wingman. Runs you about, if I remember correctly, like $60. I'm not too certain because this one I actually got for $10. So I got this one at a pawn shop for $10, and it's damn near perfect. If you only notice a little tip up there on the pliers was broken, that's fine with me. That it's not gonna bug me at all. But yeah, of course, you got your classic pliers. You got little, you know, built-in wire cutters right there. And nice and easy to use. What's really awesome about this one is you're able to access tools without having to open the pliers, open up the tool. So you got your blade right there, scissors over here. Oh, I forgot. No, yeah. Okay, so you do have to open the other one. Now, I do gotta admit, I haven't used these in a couple of years. This is put away in my bug-out bag. So if you've seen my bug-out bag, I have this in there. I will say that a multi-tool is just damn near, it's a must-have in your bug out bag. Even if you yourself don't use these much, just have that in a damn bug out bag. But it has the basics, of course. Screwdriver, both types. And this is pretty easy to access your stuff as well. They call this a package cutter. A small file and a can opener. So just the basics. That's why I like this. It's not my favorite, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really miss it too much. I'll talk about this one in a bit that's replaced it. But it's good to have in your bug out bag, an emergency kit, get home kit, a vehicle emergency, something like that. Just have yourself a decent multi-tool. This one, of course, you know, it has the blade, it has scissors, it has the pliers and the wire cutters. I think the wire cutters, in a really bad situation, those wire cutters are going to help you get in and get out of places. So something to think about there. But yeah, this goes in my bug out bag. Fairly simplistic, fairly middle of the road when it comes to Leatherman, because a lot of the Leathermans are very expensive, especially nowadays when everybody raising their prices. Now when it comes to a multi-tool that I use when I do need pliers, and that's not for everyday carry, but I go fishing a lot, and I like to use, of course, the pliers to unhook the fish. This is my Leatherman Blast. Now this one is no longer made, and that's why, sadly, that's why I've never reviewed it. You know, you see me using them in fishing videos, camping videos. I'll talk about it in EDC updates, but realistically, I see no point in reviewing something because it's not made anymore. So I have noticed, though, that they do sell them on eBay, like a couple of secondhand ones, you know, stuff like that. I think this is a great one. Nice and simple, not too blocky, not too heavy. Open this up. Really nice pair of pliers there. Like I said, I use this for fishing a lot. So really helps you. Those thin needle nose pliers really help you get in there and, you know, unhook the trout and all that. And then, of course, you got your basics. Necessities over here. So you're gonna have your screwdrivers, you're gonna have your scissors, small scissors. And I apologize, this the focus, I am losing light quickly, so I'm gonna try to make this really brief. You got a small locking blade, and all of these are locking, by the way. This is the button back here, like a back lock. So you got a nice simplistic blade here. Small flathead and a small saw. So if I was just gonna use this saw and I had nothing else, right? So close this up, and this is how it's gonna work. Not the smartest, well thought out, to be honest, because I mean that's a big gap, but it'll do in a pinch, of course. So that's why, you know, multi-tool is really kind of like a jack of all trades type of tool. It's not going to be your go-to saw that you're going to use all the time, but it's a good secondary one. Or, you know, it helps. Once again, it's not always that you're going to go through these, you know, thicker type of limbs, but sometimes it helps you with notching, making a small notch and stuff like that for traps and whatever, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, this is my preferred, my go-to multi-tool when it comes to using a Leatherman, because I tend to stick to these, and then this is my backup unless I know for a fact, you know, I'm going on a dedicated fishing trip or something like that where I know I'm going to want to take it. This is my choice when it comes to that. So such a shame that Leatherman stopped making these. I don't know what they were thinking, honestly. And I've tried nicer Leathermans, and they just come off to me as just overly bulky, overly heavy, you know. So this is like just a Goldilocks zone, just enough tools, you know, enough versatility, the size as well, but without being just too cumbersome, too big. Okay, and last but not least, here on the table we have this baby right here. This is the Gerber MP600. Now this is not mine, this is my buddy Steven's. He lent this to me a few months back so I can review it. And I've been using this for a couple of adventures. I'm sure it's come out in a couple of stealth camping videos. So I recently doing stealth camping, you know, started doing stealth camping, you know, in the city, hidden, that kind of stuff. And you've seen this on there. Last time it helped me get water. We used the pliers to kind of, you know, open the water hose on the side of a pharmacy. Now this one, I will say, you know, it's designed mainly in a tactical perspective. This was, in fact, standard issued for the military. Now, before we proceed, just know that I myself am not in the military. I'm not some gung-ho commando, in case anyone ever thought that, guys. So, you know, I don't really get a lot of these things. Now, it's not a bad multi-tool. They just don't make sense to me, but I can figure, you know, it would make sense in that kind of situation. So, the biggest, you know, the claim to fame to these is the pliers will snap out with the... Now, it's a little difficult for me to do on frame, on camera. Let me see if I can just move to the side. There you go. Somewhat. I didn't quite... There you go. Got it. So, you know, you're going to be able to do that, access your pliers one-handed while maybe your other hand is preoccupied. Once again, you know, with the tactical concept in mind, God forbid, maybe you're discharging your firearm, or you're putting pressure down on maybe a wounded comrade's, you know, his gunshot wound or whatever. Who knows? But, you know, they wanted one-handed, you know, pliers, something much faster than if you needed to fumble with them like this. To me, this doesn't really make a lot of difference. I think this is just fine, but yeah, I've never been in a life or death situation where a single second can, you know, mean death. So I don't know that. So, you know, I'm sure that they know more than I do, whoever wanted to, you know, design this. So you can see that, you know, it has the pliers, and it has replaceable wire cutters there, which I imagine, once again, also, you know, in a battlefield situation, a tactical situation, wire cutters are going to just be used a ton. So cool. I can respect that. Now, like I said, I find this a little bit more gimmicky in my opinion because I've not been in that situation. So feel free to chime on down below, you know, if anybody's ever had to use these during the, you know, say the Middle East, you know, conflict, and maybe they did make a difference. Let me know. Enlighten me. Now, one thing I really don't like about these is you need to snap this out for you to access the inside tools. That to me is just, I don't know. Don't really like it. Now, all these tools are locking. You press this up. I'm sorry, you press this down and you close it. So as you saw, this has a file. It has two different types of blades. So as you can tell, this one is serrated, maybe cutting through some cordage, something like that, thicker material. And then there's going to be a blade right here. And of course, like I said, it is locking. So you would be able to use it like this. That's another thing that I find a little wonky because that is a small-ish blade. I mean, that's what, slightly over 2 inches. Compare that to just the classic Leatherman. And they're all different sizes, but just, I'm imagining this is like around the ballpark, same size. That's a noticeable difference right there. Especially if it's going to be a tactical weapon, and maybe you do need to use this in, you know, in a self-defense situation. So I don't really like the fact that you got to access them all by opening this thing. It's just really clunky. You know, 1 step forward, 2 steps back with the whole one-handed access to this. So like I said, I may not be the biggest fan of these, but I could definitely tell, you know, I definitely know that they do have their fans. I mean, some people swear by these. So once again, by all means, let me know. Maybe these are something that you're going to want to use. You know, maybe these speak to you far more than they speak to me. But like I said, you know, maybe I'm coming off a little harsh. I tend to come off very harsh when I'm critical about something. I rewatch the videos and I'm like, I kind of sound a little too harsh. But not bad, just not what works for me. But once again, I'm not that tactical guy. I'm maybe, you know, maybe if you're like in a SWAT team, something like that, law enforcement, this may make a difference. Especially that you know, that cool black coating, that finish, really cool. I gotta say that, you know, obviously that's pretty badass. Okay, everyone, so that is about it for me. I really just wanted to relax and talk about these things because you know how it is. We just love talking about our everyday carry stuff and having conversations about them. I really wanted to just lay out just a wide array of different multi-tools in case you were in the market for buying something. Maybe you're looking something a little bit more elegant, or maybe you're looking for something, you know, a little backup to put away in, you know, your survival kit, your pouch, something like that. Just here's a small collection of what I have. Obviously, there are thousands more that I, so just wanted to keep it simple with what I got. Just showing a little bit of a versatility here when it comes to multi-tool, because once again, as I mentioned earlier, the multi-tool, in my opinion, is the most important item to carry when it comes to EDC. All of the items that you carry for EDC are going to have their place in one form or another. So I'm not saying like, oh, this is more important than your firearm. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, in terms of frequency, these are going to be used more often. A lot of times, we talk about preparedness as if, it's going to be some post-apocalyptic thing, and it doesn't have to be, guys. For example, you really like this girl, right? You're on a date, you really want to impress her, you're out on a hike, and you need that good old corkscrew to open that bottle of wine, make that strong impression, something like that. Or it can be something more serious. It can, let's face it, the world is so unpredictable. Yeah, just last year in Texas, we had power outages. I mean, and they were lasting about a week long. So all of a sudden, that can opener is going to be looking really handy. Stuff like that, the blade, stuff like that. So yeah, just wanted to show you a couple of different options here. Now, some of these already have their own fully dedicated Junkyard Fox gear review. So this one has a review. These two have a review together. This one has one, though not with this blade, but honestly, all the other tools are the same, so it doesn't really make a difference. And if you have any questions, let me know, of course. And that's about it for me, folks. So once again, be sure to check out those videos in case you want more information on the tools and the pros and cons and all that stuff. I'll also have the links down below if you're inclined to purchase any of these. If that throws a couple cents our way so we can keep getting outdoors and filming and having adventures and all that good stuff. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, what is your go-to multi-tool? What is your favorite multi-tool of all time? And it doesn't have to be here. It could be a completely different, maybe a brand I've never heard. It doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and have a discussion about it. And also let me know, in case you're interested, what multi-tool review would you like to see Junkyard Fox take? This is the next one on the list, but let me know. Okay, anyway, enough rambling. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.